Hi everyone, Ryan here, just giving you guys a heads up before this episode starts. This episode was taken from a training program I held with business people, landlords, entrepreneurs, where I'm sharing how you can solve landlord's biggest problem. When you solve a landlord's biggest problem, it means that you can do more deals, close more deals, scale your company, grow your company, build your business. I hope you get some value from this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. The biggest question every entrepreneur, landlord, and guru wants to know is this. How are landlords and entrepreneurs like us increasing our rent up to £42,155 a year above the market rent from a single property? Now that replaces the average salary, whether we're the owner of the property or we're just the tenant. You're listening to Ryan OTTO, and this podcast will give you all the answers. Welcome to the perfect property deal. In this training, we will be covering how to solve landlord's problems with a mini course as an autoresponder. So I remember an early mentor of mine from somewhere around 2002, I believe, Parmdeep Vadesha. I came across Parmdeep one evening online when I was building my property business and reading everything I could. Now I landed on a website that asked me for my name and it asked me for my email address. I put the details in. Instantly, I received an email back with part 1 of 7 tips relating to property. Now what fascinated me was the impact the emails had on me. And at the end of the email, I was told that at the same time tomorrow, I would receive part 2. Then tomorrow came. I read the email. At the end of the email, I was told tomorrow I'll receive part 3. Now this went on every day for the next 6 days. It was the first time I'd come across anything like this type of trust and relationship building method, which did exactly that. This simple but powerful method of communication was slowly over the next 7 days, it was giving me the confidence to just completely trust Parmdeep and whatever he was saying. Then on the last day, I remember, once all of that trust and relationship and rapport and everything else had been built up, I was offered the next step. That was a £97 ebook. And I believe it was called Success Through Property. Yeah, that's right. That was about 16 years ago. So I bought the course based on curiosity more than anything else alone, because I just wanted to use this system and model this in my business. And we still use this system 16 years later, which is why I've included it in my top marketing strategies that are still working today. And it doesn't cost any more than around £15 a month to set up a simple email autoresponder that converts potential landlords into clients while you sleep on autopilot. Now what I mean by that is this system will run on autopilot. And it takes landlords looking to solve their biggest problems or their fears. It gives them the answers to their questions they were looking for. It helps them avoid the pain of experiencing those problems. And at the same time, these emails, they forge a relationship. They build trust with the landlord. You gain credibility. You get to position yourself as an authority in their mind. This also offers to take the landlord's problem completely away from them, so that should they decide that they want to avoid the hassles and financial burden of voids and rent arrears and evicting problem tenants and damage to their property and all the other things that are associated with being a landlord, now they get to avoid all of that instantly by renting their property to you for as long as they want. Now I hope this doesn't sound complicated, because it really isn't. It's actually quite simple. All you need to do is follow the steps below that don't cost you anything to set up, apart from that £15 a month to use the facility to send the emails out. Maybe you can find a free autoresponder. I believe there is some out there. So, you'd create an advert headline that addresses landlords' biggest fears and problems. Now, it's very simple because landlords' fears are usually related to number 1, finding a good tenant. Number 2, agency fees. Number 3, voids. Number 4, management commissions. Number 5, rent arrears. Number 6, evicting a problem tenant through the court. Number 7, damage to their property. So the headlines would look something like this. Now, this is a very simple but powerful headline structure that copywriters swear by. Now, it would go along the lines of how to blank without blank. Now, this really is the best headline structure we have found. So you would say, for example, how to find a good tenant without paying agency fees. How to avoid rental voids forever without reducing the rent. How to avoid management commissions without managing the property yourself. How to evict a problem tenant without losing a single day's rent or attending court. How to guarantee your tenant won't damage your property without begging them not to. So, those are some examples of headlines that you could use. Now, for each headline you create, you would write the solution as to how the landlord would achieve exactly that. And you break that desired result down into 5 parts or 5 or 6 separate emails. Does that make sense? The mini course. So the next step is to tell a simple but informative story based on each of the fears of the landlord, which will be faced at some point when a landlord rents a property out. So each story should aim to be around 400 to 600 words that educate the landlord how to minimize their risks and exposure at that particular point. Now, this will form one individual part of your 5 or 6 part free mini course that you'll be sending out to potential landlords who find you online. Now, if you need some ideas to structure the content of these mini emails, this mini course, now you can work from your own knowledge that you have or your own experience. You can also find the answers to those 5 or 6 very common problems that landlords are all faced with. If you just conduct some deep research online, or if you just want to not reinvent the wheel, you can simply arrange a rental valuation on your own home. Now, this works even if you're a tenant or you have no intention to rent your home, okay? So you find the specialist companies that offer guaranteed rent. You record everything they do at the valuation. You record everything they say to you on your smartphone. It's a free app. So you now have all the answers to the questions because they will be selling their service to you around the same problems they can solve for you. Remember, you can use what you learn here from mystery shopping a guaranteed rent provider, and you can break that down into a step-by-step 5 or 6 part mini course, which you would send out to your landlords or anybody who finds you online using this mini course system, the autoresponders. So to go deeper, you just ask them questions. Ask them questions how they can do that for you. And they will just tell you everything you need to know. That will be the basis for you to construct those 300, 400, or even 500 words that you need for your 5 or 6 part mini course. Does that make sense? So let's assume that you live outside an area where companies offering guaranteed rent and they won't visit your home. So you can just find the companies online or in the nearest city and just give them, a made up but real address and ask them all of the same questions on the phone as if you're the landlord, right? It's these 5 separate emails that you've created. You would send one a day for the next 5 days. That gives the landlord exactly what they want, which are the answers to their questions. They build trust, they'll build credibility, and they'll create an authority over those 5 days. Now you can extend the free mini course to a maximum of, say, 7 days. So it's 5 to 7 days. Now that's an optimum time to naturally convert a landlord and build trust so the landlord wants to do business with you. The easiest way to achieve that is sprinkle in some credibility throughout that email series. Remember in the earlier training we discussed how you can have an anchor story in the news. This is where you would use that anchor story. Remember the editorial that you had published? It relates to this mini course. So remember earlier we went through that media strategy. Ryan Holiday, does that ring a bell? So you'd use that link in the footer to that story in the newspaper here or online if you have scanned the article and pasted the article on your social media somewhere or on your website, or even if the newspaper you're published in will also publish online. Now you create a powerful email footer about solving landlords' problems in a persuasive one sentence. Let me give you an example. Guaranteed rent from 1 to 3 years. No fees, no voids, no hassle. Call blank. Or guaranteed rent paid 365 days a year, no matter what. Call blank. Now you can play around with these headlines so they work for you and your offer. Your email offer with a link to a satisfied client that you're working with. If you haven't already got your first client, just imagine you could approach a family member or a friend or offer to manage their property for free in return for a genuine testimonial that you get, so you can use this success story right here in your footer and link to it. You can also borrow someone else's credibility by interviewing them on a podcast or for a blog post. You know, if you're not confident to go in front of the camera, but if you are, you can record that interview by someone of authority and borrow their credibility by interviewing them and link to that in your footer. So now you want to add some gentle closes. So if you sprinkle 1 or 2 closes throughout this email mini course, starting gently or subtly from at least email 3. Now you don't want to mention anything about your solution or how you can help or your service in email 1 because it's too early, email 2 because it's still too early. So be patient and wait until the end of at least email 3 before you introduce a gentle or subtle close or any offer, something along the lines of, it could be, the last few days I've shared my best information with you. But as you all know, the information alone in these emails is not really going to solve that problem for you, is it? Especially if you don't have the time to put all of this into place, right? So really you need to take action and you need to implement everything I've just shown you over the last few days. Now you need a guarantee that this won't happen again for you. Now you need a company like ours to put that guarantee in place, because that's what's going to give you all of the peace of mind that you want, and faster than just this information alone. Does that make sense? To find out how we can help you, click here or call blank. Simple. Now there's a very simple autoresponder piece of software, guys. It's called Aweber. Aweber. Aweber.com. Now, you can simply copy and paste the 5 short emails you previously created into that autoresponder as an email sequence. It's very simple. And what it does, it will send the emails out at the same intervals over the next 5, 6, or 7 days, whatever you choose, fully automated while you sleep. You simply set it up once and completely forget about it. Of course, you can develop it to increase the conversions until you get to the point where it's working and performing very, very well. So once you've added those emails, you simply follow the instructions to add the opt-in form to your online website, and you copy and paste a very simple piece of code. It's that simple. You can just read or you can watch the tutorials inside Aweber or on YouTube, and it will show you exactly how to do this very simple task. It really is not complex. Now, with this code, you will put this code on any of your websites or anywhere online or any of your social accounts, anywhere where you can paste this code successfully. And what it will do is any landlord who sees your headline anywhere they are online, they will put their email into the form, and then they're in the funnel. And then they would receive email 1. Then on day 2, they receive email 2. On day 3, they receive email 3, and that continues to the end of your mini course. Now, this will naturally nurture them and bring them further through your funnel to get them closer to converting into a client and another perfect property deal in your portfolio. Remember, this all takes place while you sleep. And once it's set up, you will start to fill your pipeline with leads which convert into the perfect property deals, fully automated. Set it up once, forget about it. Remember, if they've opted into your list, they're a landlord with a problem. They're qualified. They're looking to solve a problem, and you have a solution that will help them. Now let's just imagine you only converted 1 out of every 20 landlords that requested the information. Then you only need to then focus on getting more landlords to request the information from you in the first place. It comes down to a simple numbers game. That's it. The more landlords in your funnel, let's say 20 for this example, 1 will convert. All you need to do is put more landlords in the front end of your funnel when this system is set up once, and let it do the hard work for you. My friend, if you're not already using arbitrage, what I mean by that is taking a rental property you don't have to be the owner of out of the AST rental market and putting it on Booking.com. You stand to lose out on the largest transfer of wealth that's happening right now in 2019. Because every £1,000 of AST rent is now worth up to £3,000 of rent on Booking.com. If you're not focusing all of your attention on Booking.com right now, you stand to lose. Now you have a massive advantage over the other 2.5 million landlords that are also looking for these secrets. Don't waste that advantage by doing nothing after listening to this talk today. You can join our communities on social media called Ask Ryan Otto to discuss these episodes and have your questions answered on the next show. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Snapchat. I would love to hear from you and know what you liked about this talk.